Today, we're talking about Asian hate in America. This PBS clip covers the beginning.
This is not yet another ethnic oppression story. This is a very American story. Chinese Exclusion Act forbid Chinese to immigrate to the United States, and those who were here were not allowed to become citizens. Chinese, they are so different, they're taking our jobs, they cannot become Americans.
There was no immigration policy before the Chinese came. So if you ask an American citizen, hey, when was it determined that if you're born here, you're an American? They would have just said, what do you mean? That's the oxygen we breathe. That must have been part of the Constitution. No. In 1898, it was decided that all persons born in the United States are United States citizens, no matter what. The Chinese Exclusion Act was blatantly unconstitutional.
It reflects how America saw itself at one time and how it continues to see itself. Some of it has to do with the fact that we excluded Chinese for 60 years.
This history really is the beginning of where we are today. The issues we're asking, who can come and who cannot come? Who can be American?
Hey guys, welcome back to Apolitical. Hey, once again, we try and take the conversation to a higher plane. Hey, we got a good friend that comes on the show today, Jason Wong. Jason's a good friend of us in the community, does a lot of things, we're going culture-wise, and I know Jason for quite some time. So Jason, go ahead and just introduce yourself real quickly. Let the audience know who you are and what you do.
Hey, good evening. I'm Jason, and born and raised in Hong Kong. I came here when I was young age. I represent the Asian corporate and entrepreneur leaders. I'm the founder. The organization founded 15 years ago. We just had our 15-year anniversary. Our mission for our organization is focusing on how to get more Asian American leaders in the community by providing a platform, programming, and just to give great opportunity for Asian American professionals.
Nice. And I know, Jason, you've been doing a lot of things recently regarding what's been taking place, unfortunately, regarding all the hate crimes and all the negative energy regarding the Asian American community. Tell us a little about what's been taking place, some of your efforts, and what's been going on in your Asian community to kind of be a part of the civil rights movement.
Well, so ever since 2020, February of 2020, there's been a lot of increasing amount of hate crime across the country against Asian American. And so I think that, it would just to the point that, things are just continue to escalate. And many of our community leaders, not just only here in Phoenix, across the country, have started taking action. And some are, you see rally, there's protests, and definitely there's things happening in Arizona too. I think that in the middle of February, one of the Filipino American, he was just walking around the street and doing his normal daily walk, and then he just got punched in the face. And then a couple of days later, he's 75 years old. A couple of days later, he passed away. And that means that the hate crime is, everywhere, just because, they look, we look like Asian American, and we have to start worrying that our surrounding. And there's no different in Arizona. And I think that, my organization and my member feel that there's a need to have our government leadership to take some action. And that's where the letter came about. We have delivered a letter with community support and business support. Over 100 community organizations and businesses sign on with the letter to have demand to the governor. And we're looking for more protection by preventing it, and more, putting all the hate crime case against Asian American as one of the top priority. And locally, we have not seen a lot of leaders have have not seen a lot of leaders have speaking up, but we definitely wanted to start from the top. The governor should be the first one, and we hope that he respond to us. The letter just delivered last Thursday, so we're still waiting.
So, so Jason, to that point about waiting, I wouldn't wait. I would continue to press. If that's my advice. There's been various African American causes in Arizona, and we've laid a lot of demands on Governor Ducey, and he will take his time as long as he feels like he needs to take to respond to your request. So it may not be in your nature, but I would encourage you to find media, invite them out to press conferences, and really put the pressure on him to respond to your letter, because it's a great letter, and of course I supported it and signed on it. So I want to see him stand up for the Asian community.
You're absolutely right. You're talking to the choir. While we're waiting for him to respond, we are simultaneously ready to get on petition. Basically, just get individuals to sign on, and gonna be a link for people to start putting their name on. We are gonna encourage individuals to start sending email, making phone call, just continue the movement. That's what we're talking about. And I think that I hate to say this. I have from many years seen many of our government leaders, they don't respond unless there's some sort of pressure. And I hate to do that, but that's kind of what I need. And right. Yep, I agree with you.
Good. So Jason, go ahead, Myron. Go ahead.
Yes, yeah. So let me ask you this, Jason. I like the letter. I like the approach that you're taking regarding making the community and the state aware of what's happening with the Asian American community. When you had a lot of leaders such as Tremaine here jumping on and adding some pressure to that and adding some fuel to the fire, did other organizations kind of hesitate to, put their name behind your efforts, or did you see a very easy, flawless process of people saying, yeah, I want to support you guys. I want to make sure that, our name is backing you regarding your efforts? Did you see any type of hesitation, any type of challenges with that? Or was it just pretty easy for people to just jump on and really say, hey, I'm gonna help you guys out?
It's actually, before I answer that question, I kind of let you know how it started. So I think about 3-4 weeks ago, there started some rally in Chandler, and then the following few days, there's one in downtown Phoenix, and then there's another rally in Mesa. Basically, generate a lot of momentum, and I see those organizations organize the event. I think the goal is to create that awareness, and I like it very much. And I try to capture the momentum, thinking like, what can my organization can contribute, because this is something that it affects everybody. And I noticed that I haven't seen any demand as far as requesting what our government leaders should do. So this is where the letter come in. We start drafting, and we wanted to asking for specific prioritize, as well as resources available for Asian American community to report, to counsel. So in that letter, basically, is defined that. Now, asking people to really, at first, we wasn't thinking about asking anybody to sign on. We just gonna write a letter and then copy everybody. And I figure, that will motivate enough people to decide that, hey, they want to jump on, they will write their own letter. But then right on the day that we were going to send the letter out to the governor, I do some more thinking about it. And my good friend, Angela Huey from One Community, was saying that, probably a stronger effort by having more organization to sign on. And so that's kind of where we're reaching out to like few organizations, like 5, 10, 20, and then keep growing 50. And then I like, getting closer to 100. Why don't we shoot for 100? But then next thing we know, we probably need to we need to kind of deliver the letter, and we decided to deliver when we hit the 100 organization, sign on the letter.
So, Jason, talk to me or talk to us about the relationship that you feel Governor Ducey has with your organization, the Asian community in general in Arizona. He's been in office for quite a few years now. How has that relationship either grown or soured over the years?
I personally have not feel like there's a lot of support even before this, before the all this hate crime happened across the country. Overall I feel like he's very distant with the Asian community in general, and we many of our leaders felt the same way too. And I think after the President Biden have issued, a couple statements in regard to all this things happen to the Asian American community, and 26 governors have issued a joint statement to denounce the hate crime against us, but that's not including Arizona. And to this day, we haven't heard from him to make any statement in regard to that. So I don't think the relationship with the community and the governor has been strong, even keeping in office for many years.
Are there other organizations like yours that are, I guess, getting involved with the push? Is there a chamber of commerce, or it's obviously your organization stands out, but talk to us about other organizations in the Asian community that have expressed concerns about his inaction and lack of relationship with the community.
I think the few organizations that put the rally together, they definitely strongly feel that there's not a lot of response from the government to begin with. And I know that there is one called Stop Asian Hate Alliance that was formed probably a few months ago, and they did actually hold a rally 3 weeks ago outside the Capitol. And then were another separate group is from the Chinese community in Chandler. They were out in the Chandler City Hall and done the same thing. And then of course there's one in Mesa that was also took place. But all those different organizations, they do, I think that one is the same thing, is some sort of solution. We don't want to just create awareness in the foreign, sending the message, sending the unity, and all of that are important. But more importantly, we want solution, and solution need to come from the top. And that's what being a leader for. And I cannot speak for everyone, but I can speak for many organizations feel the same. Especially you see how many organizations that sign on with our letter.
So Jason, this is some great dialogue, and also I think a lot of people may not be aware that you have this letter of intent regarding moving forward against Asian hate. So let me ask you this: what's the next steps moving forward now? I know there's a lot of information in media, a lot of talk about Asian American organizations, different ways to interact with Asian Americans regarding what's going on, and from your experience and from what's going on in your community, like I said, what's the next steps that you see moving forward to kind of raise the roof or definitely magnify the noise on the sound regarding Asian Americans and fighting against hate?
Well, I think, just like my buddy Tremaine here was talking about, you just cannot send a letter and just wait. And that, we need to constantly continue to push that. And I think that now the governor is the first one. Then the next step is we need to send the same message out to all the city, the town, the city mayor. They need to know about this. And our intent is to inform them this is what we ask the governor to do, but we are expecting the same what you can do in the city level, and then we want more individuals to participate. So you might see 100 organization businesses sign on, but we want individuals to kind of be on board. So a phone call, an email, a social media, tag the governor just to let him know how we feel. I think that we need to have that collective effort to let him know that it's not just 1 or 2 week issues and then we can just get brushed off, respond to us. I don't want him to think that way, but I also want to give him some time, and I will hope that he respond to me Monday. That would be nice. But we just have to continue to add that momentum, continue with that momentum. The last thing we want somebody, and more hate crime occur, and then to the point that just like what happened in Atlanta, and then over here, then we start doing something that may be a little bit too late.
Right, and you have a good point. Sometimes, as Tremaine said, if you don't keep the pressure on, things can happen that it can be too late. That's something we could have prevented. Let me ask you this too. I know you are part of an organization, the ACEL. I know you guys have been operating for a while. Tell me a little bit more about that, and tell me how some people can support, or organization can support that organization or the causes.
So as I mentioned before, we formed in 2006. So it was 15 years ago. And as we first started, it was just more like a networking organization. So we were looking for an organization that allowed professionals to network with each other. It did pretty well. I think the first year and a half, we have a lot of momentum. 60, 100 people show up at networking event and so on and so forth. But we didn't see that as a sustainable way to keep the community together. We cannot just depend on networking to people come in and exchange a business card, and then once they got enough business card, they leave and they join another organization. So we create more tangible programs, such as a mentorship program. So the mentorship program allow professional match up. We match them, and they can be actually be mentored professionally or personal growth. And we start off that program very small, maybe like 5 pair, but now we run 2 classes per year. Each class can be about up to 20 pair. So we are growing that alumni base. It's been great. And I think the other thing is we focus on leadership development. So annually we have leadership conference. And every year during the summer here in Arizona, we host a leadership conference, and 2 days with speakers coming from all over the country, and East Coast, West Coast, and then about 150 people attend our conference each year. And currently we have few locations. We have chapter in SoCal, Orange County, LA, and San Jose, as well as Las Vegas. And college chapter we have 2. We have one at ASU, and then we have, of course, one at the U of
A. Okay. Jason, I have a question that's going to go off that path a little bit. I want to get back to, I guess where am I going with this? I guess the intensity of, I guess the rise and the hate that's been happening, in America. Obviously, I believe coronavirus has something to do with it. But what is your perspective on how this trend has really kind of risen over the last few months, maybe the past year or so? What do you think's really behind these attacks and just this vibe towards Asians?
I think there's a lot of ignorance out there, and people don't know something, and they instead for try to learn, they act on it. And I think obviously it doesn't help when we have a president, former president, that is basically calling name, right? They're just labeling the virus is coming from China and calling it like a kung flu or a Asian virus. I mean, that doesn't help. And I think that kind of build up a lot of people just hear it and, follow his leadership, unfortunately, and they just kind of, just kind of act on it. And I think a lot of those crimes are just really happen that way. And I mean, we cannot change how people think, but we can do our part to reach out to them. And one way to reach out is create awareness. I mean, I think that's part, I think we own it to ourselves. And, as a community member, we need to do something to reach out as well. You cannot just, be a victim and just say, well, this is what it is, and we take the punch and roll with it. I think in Asian culture, there's a lot of time we don't want to speak up, and we think that it will go away when we don't speak up, or maybe we don't speak up, other people will speak up for us. And I don't think that, that's how things are working. And not in the US culture, you have to take a stand, and you believe something, you take a stand. And it may not be agreeable by other people. There's could be potential confrontation on our argument and debate and all of that. But that's something that, we as a Asian community need to face it. I think now is the time.
Right. And, I guess following up on those points that you made, since our audience is largely African American, what do you want to say to African Americans as far as how we can support the movement? I know that a lot of people who support the Stop Asian Hate movement, but you're going to hear some of us talking about, well, the Asian American community hasn't really stood up for us in our civil rights efforts, so why should I help them out? What are your thoughts on that? And just speak to that question.
I would think that I see a lot, at least I see a lot more Asian American support the Black Lives Matter that happened last year. I think that maybe like 15, 20 years ago when things happen, civil rights issues impacting other minority group, I see less participation from the Asian American community. But this past year, I see more, including our organization. We issue a statement, and we support. But then I think there's got to be a lot more than just a statement. There's got to be like maybe more communication, and because this Asian hate that is going on right now is really just applied to all of us, who look different than majority. And today can be Asian, tomorrow can be Native American, and then who knows, and then can go back to Black, Hispanic. It's just always on that rotation. I feel like that. I still remember 2001 9/11 happened, and the Muslim community kind of going through the same thing. I seen that, and I think the Black community have a lot of. It's not a good experience, but you guys have to been through that a lot longer, and that the struggle, and you have a lot more experience to combat it. Although that this is the something that you guys still combating after 150 years, but at least from for Asian American, even though we had experienced that in the past, but not as in the organized effort, not compared to the Black community or the Latino community. I think those are the things that we definitely can learn from. A lot to learn.
Well, I will say this. I think when it comes to people of color, we're all fighting a similar battle. Some of us may be in it longer, some may go through more challenges, but once again, we're all trying to fight for that day of equality, that day of justice, and the day where everybody can have a fair shake at the table. So, Jason, I know here at Apolitical, and I can speak for my colleagues here, we always have your back. If you ever want to talk and express what's going on from an Asian American perspective, you can always come here and talk, because we're for everybody. And at the end of the day, having us to support you, that's what Apolitical is about. We're going to supporting the community and making sure that it's a fair, uplifting conversation where everybody can comprehend and understand what equality is really all about and how we can uplift everybody in the community as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Myron.
Right.
So Tremaine, I'll let you close out. Any other questions you have? I know you and Jason are wildcats, so I don't want to, put that out there too much.
Look, the best way to close out this discussion is just to say bear down. That's it.
That's right. That's right. We make it to the final.
Jason and I have known each other since 1991. So this is I was talking to him, might have been last week or the week before. I enjoy seeing him take this leadership role on behalf of his colleagues and his culture, because you don't really see. I guess you don't really see too many other cultures fighting like African Americans are for our rights and fairness in America. And I'm not saying that I enjoy seeing this Stop Asian Hate movement, but I just enjoy seeing someone I know really step up on behalf of his culture and make sure that other people get involved, just so we all can work together to realize, like you said, that day of equality. So my hat's off to Jason and bringing people together. Like Myron said, you're welcome anytime to come talk with us if you need anything.
Thank you. Actually, I think that, just by, thanks for the invitation today. I think by having this dialogue, well, I think that when Tremaine was asking how do we gonna make all the community feel like we are supporting each other, I think start with a dialogue like this and just more communication. And I would like to do the same if I, have my own podcast, and I'd love to invite both of you on board too.
Right. Make it happen.
Well, yeah, let's make it happen. Well, Jason, hey, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you, brother. Like I said, if you need to come on for some future conversations and give us an update, let us know what's going on in the Asian American community. Let us know how we can help. But we're here to support you and our Asian American brothers and sisters. And we just thank you for having it on, man. And thanks for getting us educated on what's happening as well.
No, thank you. Thanks for the invitation, and look forward to working with both of you.
All right. That's a wildcat for those who don't know.